Viagra versus Cialis is the ultimate showdown in men's health, a clash of two titans that men have debated for years. So which pill is the true king of erections? Well, the debate is over. The science points to a clear winner, but the answer is not what you think, and it comes with a huge catch you need to know about. I'm Dr. Anand Chaturvedi, adult psychiatrist and clinical researcher, and in my practice, there's one question I get asked more than any other. Doctor, Viagra or Cialis? Now, for years, men have wondered which pill is the best. Now, after you sift through dozens of clinical trials, head-to-head comparisons, and real-world data, to settle this argument once and for all, the evidence reveals a clear winner, especially when it comes to long-lasting, confidence-boosting performance. But like I said, there's a major catch you absolutely need to understand before you even consider trying either one. So if you want the definitive, science-backed verdict, you're in the right place. So first, let's be clear about what we're treating. Erectile dysfunction, or ED, is when you have trouble getting or keeping an erection firm enough for sex. It's incredibly common, affecting up to half of men between the ages of 40 and 70. And it's not just a physical problem. It can crush your self-esteem, strain relationships, and tank your overall quality of life. For decades, the first line of defense has been a class of drugs you've definitely heard of. So how do these pills actually work? Now, before we crown a champion, you need to understand the science of how these pills help you get a stronger erection. So both Sildenafil, which goes by the name Viagra, and Tadalafil, the active ingredient in Cialis, they belong to a class of drugs called PDE5 inhibitors, or phosphodiesterase inhibitors. Here's a simple version. When you get turned on, your brain sends a signal down to the nerves in your penis, releasing a chemical called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide then kicks off the production of another molecule called cyclic GMP, or cGMP. cGMP is what tells the smooth muscles in your penile arteries to relax. When they relax, the arteries widen, blood rushes in, and it creates an erection. Now, think of it like opening a floodgate. Now your body also has the enzyme whose job is to clean up extra cyclic GMP. That enzyme is called PDE5. It's basically the killjoy who shows up and starts closing the floodgate. Sildenafil and Tadalafil work by blocking that PDE5 enzyme. By getting in its way, they keep more cyclic GMP around for longer. This means the floodgates stay open wider for longer, allowing for a much more powerful and sustained flow of blood. So the result is a harder, longer lasting erection. But here's a crucial part many guys get wrong. These pills do not create an erection out of thin air. They don't boost your desire or libido. They only work if you are sexually aroused and that initial signal is sent from your brain. They're here to enhance the natural process, not create a new one. So without stimulation, absolutely nothing happens. Now, let's start with the OG, the little blue pill that changed the world in 1998, Sildenafil, better known as Viagra. It was the first PDE5 inhibitor approved for ED, so it has a massive track record. Now, in major clinical trials, well over 70% of men reported improved erections, which is a staggering number compared to placebo. So what's it like to use? Sildenafil is built for on-demand action. The game plan is simple. Take it on an empty stomach about an hour before you plan to have sex. Why an empty stomach? Because its biggest weakness is food. A high-fat meal can seriously slow down its absorption and weaken its effect. So that romantic steak dinner you had planned, it might actually work against you. Once it kicks in, Sildenafil's effects last for about 4 to 6 hours, and this is giving you a solid window of opportunity. This makes it a fantastic choice for men who can plan their intimate moments. You've got a date night scheduled, you take the pill, and you're ready to go when the time is right. Now, what about side effects? The most common ones are a direct result of the drug opening up the blood vessels elsewhere in your body. This can cause headaches, facial flushing, stuffy nose, and indigestion. For most guys, these are mild and don't last long. Sildenafil also has a unique though less common side effect. Altered color perception, sometimes called blue vision. This happens because it slightly interacts with another enzyme, PDE6, found in your retina. It's temporary and not dangerous, but it can be a little weird if you're not expecting. Sildenafil is a proven powerhouse. It's effective, has decades of data, and when used right, it delivers reliable results for planned intimacy. Next up, we have Tadalafil, famously known as Cialis. It hit the market in 2003 as a direct competitor to Sildenafil, but it brought one game-changing difference to the table. If Sildenafil is a sprinter, Tadalafil is a marathon runner. It's known for its incredible 36-hour duration of action. That's not a typo. While Sildenafil gives you a few hours, a single dose of Tadalafil can keep you ready for up to a day and a half. Now, this mind-blowing feature earned it the nickname the weekend pill. A guy can take one on Friday night and be set for spontaneous intimacy all the way through Sunday morning. So this one feature completely changes a psychological game. It removes the pressure of watching the clock or having to plan your life around a pill. This freedom and spontaneity are huge reasons why so many men and their partners prefer Tadalafil. It allows for a sex life that feels natural, not scheduled. So like Sildenafil, Tadalafil starts working in about 30 to 60 minutes, though some guys feel it even faster. And one of the biggest advantages is that its absorption isn't significantly affected by food. You can go ahead and have that big romantic dinner without worrying about sabotaging the medication. Now, as for side effects, it shares the common ones like headache and flushing. However, it doesn't mess with the PDE6 enzyme in the eye, so blue vision isn't a concern. Instead, Tadalafil has its own unique potential side effect: muscle aches and back pain. And because the drug stays in your system so much longer, any side effects you get might also stick around longer. Tadalafil offers a totally different approach. One centered on flexibility, spontaneity, and taking the mental load off of sex. We're about to put these two head to head and reveal the scientific verdict. But first, if you're getting real value from this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Most of you watching aren't subscribed, and it's a free way to support the channel and make sure you don't miss our future videos on men's health. Based on what you've heard, which one sounds more like your style? The planner or the marathoner? Let me know in the comments below. So let's put Sildenafil and Tadalafil in the ring and see how they stack up on the factors that matter most. So round one, efficacy. Which one gets the job done? In terms of raw power, studies show that both medications are pretty evenly matched. Both have success rates of over 80% in some trials and are far better than a placebo at improving erectile function. Honestly, for most guys, it's a statistical tie. They both work incredibly well. Round two is speed. Which one works faster? This one is surprisingly close. Both drugs generally start to work within 30 to 60 minutes. So while you might hear claims about one being a few minutes faster, in the real world, the difference is pretty much negligible. We'll call this another draw. Round three is duration. Which one lasts longer? Here we have an undisputed knockout champion, Tadalafil. With its 36-hour window, it absolutely dominates Sildenafil's 4 to 6 hours. This is the single biggest difference between the two. Round four, food interaction. Which one is dinner date proof? Tadalafil takes another decisive win. You can take it with or without food, giving you total freedom. Sildenafil, on the other hand, can be weakened by a fatty meal, forcing you to plan your dinner around your pill. And then side effects, which has the better profile. This is more of a trade-off. Sildenafil has that weird blue vision risk. Tadalafil has a muscle and backache risk, and both can give you a headache. The choice here is personal, but remember, since Tadalafil is in your system longer, its side effects can be more persistent. And then round six is patient preference. Which one do men actually want? Now, this is where the science gets really interesting. When men try both, the choice is overwhelming. Multiple studies, including huge meta-analysis, found that a big majority of men and their partners prefer Tadalafil over Sildenafil. And the number one reason is that long duration, which dials down the anxiety and amps up the sexual confidence. So the verdict, after looking at the science, the head-to-head battles, and what patients actually prefer, which pill is number one? So for providing the best overall experience, promoting spontaneity, and for its proven patient preference, the winner is Tadalafil. or Cialis. That ability to take one pill and not think about it for an entire weekend is a psychological game changer. It separates the act of medicating from the act of intimacy, which allows for a much more natural and confident experience. Meta-analyses have confirmed that while both are effective, Tadalafil leads to significantly better psychological outcomes. But remember that catch I mentioned? The big catch is this: the best pill is the one that's best for you. Tadalafil wins the overall comparison, but Sildenafil is still a fantastic option for men who only have sex at predictable times. If you know you're having a date night Friday, the 4 to 6 hour window might be all you need and even feel preferable. And the other catch: neither of these will do a thing if you haven't addressed the root cause of your ED. It is essential to see a doctor. It's really important to note that these pills aren't a magic bullet for everyone. Roughly 30% of men may not respond to them. If you're in this group, you're not alone and you are not out of options. It just means it's time to talk to your physician about other powerful treatments, or go see a urologist for more options. It just means it's time to talk to your primary care doctor or get a referral to a urologist about other powerful treatments like vacuum devices, injections, or even a penile implant. And finally, let's talk money. For years, these brand name drugs were wildly expensive, but today both Sildenafil and Tadalafil are available as generics for a fraction of the cost. This is a massive win for everyone. There is no significant difference in the effectiveness between the brand name and the generic, so you can get the benefits without emptying your wallet. Always ask your doctor about the generic option. So wrapping up, the science shows that while both Sildenafil and Tadalafil are fantastic at what they do, Tadalafil takes the crown. Its long duration, freedom from food effects, and the overwhelming preference from patients in clinical studies make it the top choice for an experience that feels spontaneous and confident. But the most important thing you can take from this video is this: you must talk to a doctor. These are prescription drugs and they aren't safe for everyone, especially men who take nitrates for chest pain. And never, ever forget that erectile dysfunction can be the very first warning sign of a much more serious health problem like heart disease or diabetes. Getting your erections checked out could literally save your life. Take care of yourself, talk to your doctor, and find the solution that brings back not just your function, but your confidence. And like always, I'll see you in the next video.